And like Anne Hathaway has a scene with Liz Anter and with her character where she's cheating on his wife. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Went to my alma mater.
Really?
She was my graduation speaker.
Really?
Oh.
Just saying.
I know.
Right.
I may have sent one of my daughter's friends, who's a freshman, to the office for an internship.
Nice. Recently or?
Yeah, I'll let you know if she wants to. She was,
She had to.
okay, there was something on your website that said we were looking for interns, so I sent her the website. Websites are hard, I can help you.
Perfect. And we don't really have an official, I have a person that's $2.
Your live stream.
Did you just say that for live stream? I have one. But he's 20 plus.
Well, by the way, where did we find the gavel? Where was it? Okay.
I ate it.
Well, we couldn't find it. Okay, guys, when we get started here, we had our 5-minute technical break. We're going to start with, let's just go in order, Senate Bill 239. Secretary Savage, you want to just come up here on SB 239? And you take the time you need to present the bill and wherever else you want to, from your team to weigh in, okay? It's all yours.
You'd like to start with 239? Okay. Good afternoon again. So 239 is a state finance and procurement, local cybersecurity preparedness and response plan and assessment repeal. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and esteemed members of the committee once again. And appreciate the opportunity to provide testimony in support of this. This is really just a cleanup of duplicative language in Maryland law. This bill repeals a duplicative provision of the law in the state finance and procurement 3.5405, which is exactly the same, as I understand it, as 407. So this proposes leaving in 405 and taking out 407.
Okay. Senator Hester.
So one question prompted by the bill, but acknowledging that there is there may be this duplication, but if each county government, local school system, and local health department is required to consult with their local emergency manager to create a cybersecurity preparedness and response plan, do you have a list of those that have completed that requirement?
We may. I'm happy to follow up on that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 239. Let's next move to Senate Bill 242. Secretary Savage, and you've got, again, Marcy Jacobs and Lily Madigan with you for this one. Okay, Secretary, again, SB 242.
All right, so 242 proposes codifying into law the Maryland Digital Service within the Department of Information Technology. On January 8th of last year, the Moore-Miller administration announced taking major actions to transform the digital experience in state government, which included the creation of the Maryland Digital Service within the Department of Information Technology. Today, as you mentioned, I'm joined by Marcy Jacobs, who we brought on board as the state's first Chief Digital Experience Officer. She's doubled the team to 20 in the past year, including the state's first ever leaders of engineering, product, and design. So this initiative, which, again, was launched by the Moore Miller administration, and we seek to simply codify into law, represents a transformative step in improving how Maryland residents and state agency staff interact with government services. This includes websites and applications and major IT development projects. So the benefits of SB 242 include the following. So one is enhanced accessibility and user experience. The creation of MDDS, as we're calling it for short, will prioritize the development of user-friendly, accessible, and multilingual digital products by ensuring inclusivity for all residents, including individuals with disabilities. SB 242 directly addresses the diverse needs of Maryland's population. The second benefit is streamlined digital infrastructure. Consolidating and streamlining websites and digital applications will reduce redundancy, complexity, and maintenance costs. The efficiency will result in financial savings and a more seamless experience for residents and agency staff. A third benefit is to focus on best practices. MDDS will emphasize user-centered design, accessibility standards, and best practices to elevate the quality of digital service delivery, ensuring it meets modern expectations and fosters trust in government services. And finally, dedicated leadership and collaboration. So the appointment of a digital experience officer by the DO-IT secretary ensures that MDDS will have focused leadership to guide its initiatives. Additionally, mandated collaboration between state government units and the MDDS aligns digital initiatives with the statewide information technology master plan, ensuring a cohesion and effective implementation. So I urge the committee to support SB 242 and help Maryland lead the way in delivering accessible and user-centered government services. MDDS is not just an investment in technology, but in the people of Maryland, ensuring that everyone has access to tools and resources that they need. Because MDDS is already in place, we received PINs for it last year, there is no fiscal impact because of this bill. So thank you for considering my testimony, and I'm confident that this will ensure a lasting positive impact on the state.
Okay, Ms. Jacobs, Ms. Madigan, are you here just for questions?
Just
or?
for any questions.
Okay. Okay, questions for the panel? Going once, twice, 3 times. Seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 242, which brings us to our final bill for the day, Senate Bill 244. Secretary Savage.
Sure. So thank you again for the opportunity. This is purely clarifying language between the Department of Information Technology and the Department of Emergency Management, specifically clarifying roles and responsibilities between the Director of Local Cybersecurity inside DO-IT and the Cyber Preparedness Unit in MDEM. After much discussion between myself and Secretary Strickland with the Maryland Department of Emergency Management, we came to the conclusion that the role of supporting local governments in developing vulnerability assessments and cyber assessments should fall under the purview of the Director of Local Cybersecurity and DO-IT. So by shifting this responsibility to DO-IT, that allows MDEM to focus on its legislatively mandated responsibilities, which include assisting local entities with the development of cybersecurity preparedness and response plans, implementing best practices and guidance developed by the State Chief Information Security Officer, and identifying resources to complete appropriate cybersecurity vulnerability assessments. So again, this simply clarifies that DO-IT will have responsibility for the assessments and remediation, whereas MDEM, allowing MDEM to focus on their expertise around planning. The other provision of this legislation is to repeal a reporting requirement, which has to this point asked DO-IT to break executive privilege in regards to budget recommendations for cybersecurity funding. Each year, DO-IT gives the Department of Budget and Management budget recommendations to be included in the governor's budget allowance. We are not able to share those numbers with the legislature because they will have been included in our budget request. While we understand the legislature's need for information from our agency and are eager and willing to comply, these recommendations are something we cannot share before the budget is shared. The Director of Local Cybersecurity and his staff have the resources to perform these duties, so again, there's no new fiscal impact from this legislation.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the testimony, that last point about removing the requirement. There is one bit of testimony for the Center for Health, University of Maryland Center for Health and Homeland Security, I think, asking us to inquire as to the removal requirement of that provision. Bill removes requirement, the Office of Security Management, annually publish the percentage of the state IT budget that's dedicated to cybersecurity, and you're saying that is privilege, that's information you simply cannot
Prior
disclose?
to the release of the budget. So we're
Okay.
happy to discuss it after, but we just want to ensure we're not breaking executive privilege and sharing a budget figure prior to the release of the governor's
see.
budget.
Okay. Yeah, which was, yeah, yesterday was that, yeah, okay. Okay, well, Senator Hester, we could press this a little more, just that's really the only testimony here raising this issue. Senator Hester?
Yeah. I mean, there's, the transparency here I think is important. What I hear you talking about is the timing.
Yes.
What the bill does is removes the transparency requirement. It doesn't change the timing. Would you be open to an amendment to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for the secretary on this specifically point? We've got Vice Chair Kagan.
Sorry. With a healthy chip in my mouth here. This bill covers MDEM. I'm wondering if there are other cabinet-level departments that you are thinking. Are you seeing MDEM as a sort of pilot effort, or are there others that you might be doing this for in the future?
No, so MDEM has the cyber preparedness unit within it, and what this seeks to do is clarify roles and responsibilities between their CPU and the Director of Local Cybersecurity. When Secretary Strickland and I both started, we had a lot of sort of confusing conversations about what are you doing for local cybersecurity versus what am I doing for local cybersecurity. And so this just seeks to further clarify that. And given that we have the experience, particularly with vulnerability assessments and remediation because of the 2022 experience, we sort of made the decision, continue with doing assessments. We also have now the program with the National Guard to do follow-on remediations. So we discussed, we'll kind of lead that work versus MDEM kind of focusing on the preparedness and planning. They're already doing continuity of operations planning, for example, at the local level. And we certainly think cyber should be included to, the same way a hurricane would be, included. And so we want them to really focus on that preparedness, continuity of operations, which is not our expertise, allowing us to focus on, kind of the proactive assessments and remediation. So it just kind of delineates that.
Totally makes sense, and stay in your wheelhouse and give the expertise, all that.
Yeah.
But there are others like Adjutant General Burkett or the Secretary of the Environment, the Department of the Environment when we have climate challenges and all that. I just wondered whether there were others, but I'm hearing that as a no or a no for now.
I think a no for now, because
Okay.
we provide these services sort of externally to local and municipalities, and so it's just separating the duties.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any additional questions for the secretary or for the panel? Okay, thank you. We do have one additional witness who signed up. We've got John Fiastro. John, if you want to come up here, you've just signed up. You all can yield the table to
Okay.
Mr. Fiastro. He signed up on behalf of the Cybersecurity Association. Something in my throat. Information purposes only. And that is John, you've got, we're going to put, we don't need the clock. This is the final witness of the day, so excuse my.
Well, I only have about 2 hours worth of testimony, Mr. Chairman, so I'll make it speedy if I can. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm here on behalf of the Cybersecurity Association. My name is John Fiastro, and I just wanted to highlight one or two items here. First, I do want to let members of the committee know that the association has long been a supporter of modernization efforts and cybersecurity modernization efforts. We were here in 22 to support Senator Hester's package, and we have been here routinely in front of this committee and have worked on work groups subsequent to that to support these efforts. I think the one question that the association had outstanding was highlighted by Senator Hester, and that is the importance of the report. And we do recognize the agency's desire not to break executive privilege, but we do think that there's extreme interest and importance of having transparency in terms of cybersecurity spend for this committee, for the General Assembly, and for the greater public. And so if a compromise is struck that the reporting deadline would be after the submission of the state budget by the chief executive, then I think that would answer that question. And then the second piece that we had a question about that we will get, that we think is answered as well, was the responsibility of supporting local development of response plans. If that remains with MDEM, or if it's highlighted that MDEM will support those local governments, then then our questions are answered. But we do thank the committee for its time, and that concludes my testimony, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fiastro, any questions for Mr. Fiastro? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on Senate Bill 244, concludes the bill hearings for today, and completes our work for the week. Before you adjourn, I just pulled up some numbers. I just think it's important to note that right now, the EEE Committee is sitting with 144 bills in the committee. The next closest committee is House Judiciary at 102, JPR 100, and then it's a big drop-off. So yet again, this committee's going to do all the heavy lifting for the General Assembly. And on that,
Less than half, fewer than
Yes.
half are mine.
yes.
Or mine.
Okay, so on that note, have a fantastic rest of your day.